Thursday, the 13th day of June 2024. I am George Wenner, and I am here at Fort James looking eastward to the entrance to the St. John's Harbour. If we look, we see here the channel. That's the vessel. And we see the channel markers. That's the green port side, the starboard and port side channel markers. Okay, and we see this vessel. Now this is a vehicle carrier, Guangzhou Highway. That's the name of the vessel. The Guangzhou Highway, that's it there. And it came into port this morning delivering several units of vehicles, and having delivered the units, in leaving the port alongside, that's the commercial port here in St. John's Harbour, right here, somewhere, somehow, it shifted just a little bit north of the channel. Just a little bit north of the channel. All right? We can see the channel markers are right there as we showed you. Right here. And I would say from this distance, no more than 50 to 100 meters north of the channel, and ran aground. Now, why is this significant? Because dredging operations have been going on for years in the St. John's Harbour to accommodate the Oasis class ships, the largest, or I should say the largest passenger cruise ships on planet Earth, to be docked here at the St. John's Harbour. And dredging has been ongoing for years. And just a few meters, just shy of 100 meters north of the channel, it is that shallow for a car carrier, a vehicle carrier, the Guangzhou Highway, having alighted quite a bit of its cargo here in the St. John's port to run aground. As you can see, the bulbous bow at the front, the very front, and it's sitting high in the water. That means it's not heavily laden with cargo. And there are two tugs. The anchor, it's at anchor, it has dropped its anchor, and there are two tugs. We can see basically one tug peeping out on this side, but we are unsighted by another tug. There are two tugs that have been fighting, working for the last several hours to get this, to free the Guangzhou Highway from being run aground here in the harbour. So several questions. What had caused the Guangzhou Highway to depart the St. John's port outside of the channel? That's one. Two, why would this area, this close to the docking, the berthing facility here in St. John's, be that shallow after years and years and millions, possibly billions of dollars in dredging operation here in the St. John's Harbour to accommodate large cargo ships, bearing in mind that the St. John's Harbour was newly reconstructed. It was rebuilt, refurbished, and this was supposed to be a transshipment point in this region where we do transshipping of cargo and a lot of commercial activity. And why this area this close to the dock is so shallow with all the dredging operations. There we see another tug. Well, one of the tugs, it's tethered to the vessel and it's trying to pull the vessel backwards. Now, the thing is, when you look at this vessel, it's several stories high, and it is not a regular passenger cruise. So all that surface area of the vessel, several stories high, is like a giant sail. And on a breezy day in the St. John's port, the wind hitting against the surface of this vessel is going to pose a challenge for these two small tugs. Now, these tugs are tugs that the St. John's port rented, and they're renting from an overseas company, we're hearing. The tugs that were owned by the St. John's port, the Port Authority, they got rid of those And I understand they're doing very well now. They were purchased by a private operator and they're doing very well. Some powerful tugs. And they went and rented these two tugs. You can see one, but the other one is unsighted by the vessel, the Guangzhou Highway. And they're having a torrid time in trying to free the vessel that has run aground here in the St. John's port. So this is what is happening here in St. John's, Antigua. Many questions for the Port Authority, for the manager. He speaks a lot, he's on the air a lot. And here we see another tug coming into view. So these are the two tugs that have been wrestling all morning trying to free the Guangzhou Highway. And they have been maneuvering all along, all morning, so much so that has stirred up the silt in the channel, in the harbor. And you can see the discoloration in the water. You can see the aqua green, and in the middle you see the gray coming through the channel, going right around Sleeping Indian side hill, and going right around. We can see into focus the Royal Antiguan, and you can see the discoloration, the aqua green closer to the hillside, the gray in the middle, and then the aqua green. So all that silt has been stirred up from hours of trying to free this vessel, the Guangzhou Highway, a vehicle carrier, which has run aground embarrassingly that close to the dock here in the St. John's Harbour. With all the dredging, the dipping up of water they have been using, many of the locals have been questioning the method in which they have carried out the dredging operation. They have used sweepers, vacuuming the ocean floor. They have used excavators in dipping up buckets of water. And here it is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And the Guangzhou, this close to the dock. Okay, no, this is a good scale, to give you a good scale. The tug, so that is several hundred feet. That is less than 200 meters. Less than 200 meters. Just about 100 meters, or a little over 100 meters from the edge of the dock to the stern of the Guangzhou. And that's the tug in the middle, broadside. So that gives you an idea of a scale. Excellent timing. So we can see how close it is to the dock and to be running aground right here. After all the millions of dollars that was spent with dredging operation. That's one. And for the navigators, the captain and crew, to be leaving the St. John's port outside, north of the channel. That's the channel markers right there we're looking at. You can see the green channel marker and the red channel marker in the middle. They're supposed to be middle in the channel. Now the question is, would this impede or hinder, though it's not in the middle of the channel, would this impede or hinder the arrival of other cargo vessels, other passenger cruise vessels, particularly the larger vessels, coming so close to the channel? Are any portions, we're a bit unsighted from the angle with which we are any portions of the vessel hanging over into the channel or dangerously close in the channel? There are many questions, and here we see the two tugs. They're maneuvering, tethered to the Guangzhou. The Guangzhou is at anchor. You see the anchor chain. They have deployed their anchors. The anchor, one anchor, and they're trying to pull the Guangzhou off of where it has run aground. George Wenner holding their feet to the fire, keeping them honest.